Evening, everyone, and welcome back. As promised, we are starting at 8 o'clock, and I'm still the Calm Scribe, and we are here in conversation with Art and Jest, who is Art and Jest on Twitch, and is also known as Brenda. So to give you a bit of a brief bio on who Brenda is and who we're about to sit down and chat with, Brenda has been getting in trouble for crayoning on the walls for as long as she can remember. She went to art school at the University of Guelph because in art school, they let you draw whatever you want. She works and plays in Ottawa, where she came for grad school and just stuck around ever since. I have to say I'm very happy that she did. And she learned learned a lot of busy words during her master's in English Lit, but it turns out she actually prefers the visual to the verbal when it comes to communication. You can see what she makes at artandjest.com. Watch her make it at twitch.tv/artandjest, or rifle through her digital sock drawer on Insta, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. You name it, she's on it all, and it's all Art and Jest. And she also doesn't totally get why these things are always written in third person, but concedes that it does sort of just feel right. And I think that's more so that when people like me are saying these things, I'm not saying I.
But do you know that they make you do artist statements, and when they make you write artist statement, they're supposed to be quite like esoteric, and they're very elegantly written, and they're always supposed to be in the third person.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, that does feel correct to me, and also, and I'm sure you could probably tell my artist statement is a little bit tongue in cheek. It's a little bit tongue in cheek. Also, hi Carrot. Hi friend. How are you? Hi Carrot.
Welcome everybody, and welcome to all of Art and Jest fans and followers. And just to get the party started for everyone, just so you know, if you type command or exclamation mark guest in chat, it brings up all of the socials.
That's so many of my things. I have so many things. Friend, thank you for doing that. Also, does your audience call themselves something? Or do you use a term for them at all? Some people do, some people don't.
We're working towards it. Right now it's just usually chat or nibs.
Chat? Okay. Well, hello Dahlia, hello Darius, hello SJRM, also hi Carrot, hello Fred. The bruvs is good. I like the bruvs, that's funny. That sounds like you're all having pints in a tavern somewhere.
Yes.
Which pleases me.
At some point that will be a thing again.
One day.
At some point.
One day. When we're willing to put our filthy meat sacks into places near one another. Disgusting.
It's amazing the stuff that we used to do. Like when this whole pandemic thing started, my wife and I had to go to the mechanic for something. And everything was like sanitized, and we had to like touch the keypad and all this stuff. And it was like, it's amazing how many things before the pandemic that we just used to put our hands on everything and not think about
Remember blowing out candles on a cake?
If that can stop, that would be great.
Disgusting. That's disgusting. We used to exhale on top of food. Ew.
Yeah,
that's gross. Well, hi to your chat. Hi to my friends. Hi friends. Hi soon friends. Nice to meet you. And if we've met already, nice to see you.
So be sure, if you haven't yet, be sure to give Brenda a follow. And
thanks, buddy.
And you'll definitely enjoy it. She's a lot more high energy than I am. I'm the Calm Scribe.
That's not true. Our energy express. Mothman! Hi, Mothman! How are you, Mothman? Friend?
Together, we've got good energy. But I'm writing, I'm usually calmer. Birthday cakes and blowing candles.
You're my straight man. You're my chill straight man. It's good. The stuff that you say is funnier and lands because if I'm like doing like this behind you and you're like, and another thing about airplane food. That's like a classic, Bert and Ernie. Not gonna lie, kind of hoping the direction arrows in the grocery store stick around. I do not miss the total anarchy. Carrot, elbows out, my love. You just elbow right out. I have more high energy. Hi, Fran, classic. Mothman, I'm making a quote command just for you. Just so you know. Just so you know. Yeah, birthday cakes and blowing candles. Ew.
Yeah, it was
right,
a terrible
SJ?
thing.
Disgusting.
And that was the thing, actually. I used to work in a bar, and you get kind of aggressive.
You did?
Yeah, I've worked in a few bars. And that's actually where I met my wife when I was a bartender. But cool. I've learned, if we're in crowds, she's learned to push me ahead. Because I will put my hand on my shoulder and literally use my elbow as a wedge to push through people. if I'm in a crowded space.
Oh my
And
god,
then
you're
just
like
kinda
a
peel
human
off the-
snowplow! Wow, Travis. I know.
works.
I am making a quote, Carrot, because you guys get such good clips and they're so funny. They always get when I'm sweating for some reason when I'm freaking out about something and sweating. Yeah, Mothman and Carrot. Oh my gosh, Mothman and Carrot are like salt and pepper shakers. They're the most majestic audience members you could ever have in your Twitch. And Travis, listen, Carrot is an author, a very talented one at that. But they're both big brain.
Awesome.
Mothman, is it mechatronic engineering that you're studying? Big old brain. And Carrot used to be a book buyer and has like dark arts level knowledge of books all the time.
Nice.
Forever, always. And we have a whole recommend section of my chat because we have a couple of librarians and authors and stuff. It just somehow those people have found themselves and they're curating like these beautiful Goodreads and like recommended lists and stuff, and it's magical. And Carrot is boss of all of that.
Well,
Carrot and my friend
welcome.
Sandra, Cats, Books, and Axes. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
welcome. This is the Writer's Chat, and so we normally are writing or talking about writing or doing creative things like this, doing interviews like this.
But now I'm here. So nobody's gonna get nothing done. Nothing. That's not true. We'll get some stuff done, but it won't be
Mechatronics.
quiet writing times. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, no, I got my quiet writing times in earlier. We got a lot of work done. It's actually funny
good,
because
that's awesome.
building the website for the Scribe's Journey podcast today. And
Wicked.
yeah, it's actually, I'm really
job, bud.
jazzed about it. It looks really good.
As well you should be.
I had to put in the bios. And so there's 3 bios side by side, and it's funny to see them, how you write them. And one of the scribes was like, wow, your bios are so long, I need to work mine. I'm like, they're always changed. Bios are, that's the thing I've actually started doing. I don't know if you do the same thing, Brenda, but I actually keep a list of all the websites that I have a bio on. Because they change so often, I need to remind myself to go back and change my bio on all those different websites.
Oh, I kind of only have everything. I mean, like you can see from the socials. Also, Mothman, that's hilarious. You would be terrifying carrying a wooden shield. You riot gear wearing steampunk legend. Darius, I'm going to take that as a compliment. I kind of like that vibe. I feel like I've met you at every wedding I've been to. That's me. You've met me at every wedding. I was crashing it. I was supposed to be in the one next door. I kind of keep everything like under, it's a compliment, bruv. Don't worry. Thanks, fam. Thanks. Back at ya. I kind of keep all the places that have bios are sort of central to me, but do you have like the like paragraph long and then the 1 sentence long and then the like slightly more academic one and the slightly more casual? And I have the one that's like super clean, there's no swears, and then I have one that has like a tiny little bit of swearing in it. Like I have different genres of bio.
Yeah, most definitely. I've also got a style guide for the Wax Studio Productions or Wax Seal Productions.
Wax
for
Seal
College
Productions.
Scribe and for
I'm so
Scribe's
excited
Journey.
about Wax Seal Productions.
Yeah, so am I. There's so much stuff, and I got a new toy box that came in today or yesterday.
Yay!
I have to get that set up still.
Yay!
Just a gorgeous wooden box for everything. As this is a
Wicked.
writing
Carrot
stream.
wants to know who's Nanowrimo's. Tell me. You were about to read it.
Yes. What is up with everyone? So I will be doing Nanowrimo this year. And what I mean by this year is almost every year for the past 4 or 5 years, I've started it and not bothered with it.
Sure.
So either life's gotten in the way or I just haven't done it. But I'm currently writing The Lion of Archinomus, which is a science fiction story. And it's really in depth, and there's been 9 months of world building and canonizing and all that stuff, getting ready for it and outlining. And I'm not going to try to write a new novel during NaNoWriMo. I'm going to try to write 50,000 words for this novel because it's probably going to be falling in around the 100 to 120,000 word category.
You know what? Adapting challenges to serve you is, I think, the challenges are... Nothing happens when you win at a challenge, but so much happens if you adapt it to serve you, and it serves your practice and serves your purpose. And that sounds like a great adaptation. Yes, you crazy sci-fi. Yeah, Carrot. Carrot is aiming to go 3 for 3 on Rockin' Nano this year. So far has knocked out 2 in the time period and is awesome. Blanket statement, Carrot is awesome. Also, if you want the most adorable example, I don't know if you and your partner have this type of relationship. Carrot and Mothman have the most, like, what would you guys call it? It's like they're like the most mutual hype for one another ever. And it's perfect and it's so pure. We are each other's hype person. Yeah. Carrot. Hard agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree. I love it. It's so nice.
Awesome to have that. For us, it's kind of the same. My wife and I, like, I'm definitely my wife's hype person, and she's definitely my hype person as well, but she's also very introverted. So she like hypes me from afar. And so when I'm out doing something, she's always like, yeah, go.
Have a good time.
But I know it's there.
Don't come home for a long time. I'm having alone time. It's great.
Yeah, she's a big reader and likes to, she's not super, like, that's one thing she can never understand is that when we were dating, she'd call me, she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm out having a drink at a bar." And she'd be like, "Well, who are you with?" "No one." Yeah. And at first she couldn't understand that, and then she would realize that within 20 minutes of the bar, I'd be in a conversation with 3 other people sitting at the bar, and I'd be there drinking for 3 or 4 hours and make like 5 or 10 new friends in the time.
That's what sitting at the wood is for, man. That's what it's for.
Exactly.
Universal language for I am available to chat. Oh, Mothman's taken apart his 3D printer on his bench and is doing crazy impressive electrical things with it.
That sounds very...
Mothman, you and your 3D printer, you so fancy. Aren't you supposed to be studying for midterms, or are they done? Did you do your midterms? Did you do it? Are you procrastinators right now? Or is this legit time? Either way, listen, you do you. You do what is in your heart, friend.
3D printing I definitely want to do. I want to get into it.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, it's rad.
Well, that's the nice thing, too. I don't know if you know this, and for those of you out there, you can look into your own cities for this, but our city, actually, in 3 or 4 of the libraries, you can go use a woodcutter, laser woodcutter, and a 3D printer for free. All you have to do, I think you pay for the materials for the 3D printing, but you don't pay for the time.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And you have to take like a session with one of their experts. And there's a makerspace as well that has them down at the train yards. We have access to a few 3D printers, which is pretty rad. Impact Hub has one, which is cool. Yeah,
we've got some really cool stuff that happens in the city. There's also like the tool libraries and open workshops and stuff like that.
Library. They're the best. Yeah. They're so awesome. They run repair cafes.
Yeah.
You guys would love the repair cafe. They're so cool. 3D printing is a lot of fun, and I have no limit on the time I will spend teaching people who want to know more than they asked. Mothman, I fall into that category. Should we have a skill swap? You guys, should the Jesters have a skill swap where everybody teaches everybody else something? We'll like host different streams and we can all teach each other something. I think that'd be super fun. We have so many smart people in the Jesters. I don't know where they came from or how they found me. That's not true. I know a couple other places, but like I am so thankful that they stayed. Yeah, repair cafes are amazing. Mothman. Yeah. I agree. Love them.
And you're right. Do that. You'd be great at that. November's was very hard to get through that stuff. And that's the thing I find is difficult too. When I find it's funny, I write when I'm on stream, I write and I enjoy interacting with people and stuff like that. But if I'm doing something like Nanowrimo, it's really hard for me to go into the forums and chat with people and to update my word counts and stuff like that. I just kind of get into the zone where I just do my thing and I don't. And at the end of the month or halfway through the month, I'm like, oh yeah, hi people, I'm doing this too. And I've written this many words.
Well, maybe that just doesn't serve you. Like if you have your community already here, I think a lot of people participate in those types of challenges because they're looking to find community. And if you already have a really strong community that's supporting you and energizing you and you're getting the feedback that you need, then you don't necessarily get the same kickback from like walking into another community that you're not necessarily always a citizen of. Carrot agrees, though. I stay out of the forum. I have a group of friends for word sprints, but I refuse to get bogged down by the threads. Too much chatting, not enough writing. Carrot. Deadlines. Getting her done.
Well, you got to do 50,000 words in 30 days. That's like more than 5 words a day. So,
have you ever had a coworker or like somebody who loved meetings. You know, people who love meetings because it feels like progress, right? Like it can feel like you're doing the thing and you're not like a meeting is nothing. A meeting is vapor, and it can feel real. It can be lovely. Like it's nice to build rapport and to hang out, but it's not doing the work. And I think sometimes forums are sort of, it can be a little bit like that. Like that's somebody kind of calling a meeting or organizing. You ever organize your emails, or you you do like this, you know, on your, and you're like, okay, I'm working right now and I'm going to stack.
Yeah.
That's nothing. We're not doing anything, but it's like, it's just a way to kind of fidget.
It's so hard especially when you work for yourself. It's so hard to be like, you know, because you can easily lie to yourself. Be like, oh no, this really needs to be done right now. It's like, no, it doesn't.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's meetings. I belong to a couple of different boards, and some of the boards have just had some changeovers. And there was one board where there were some people that really liked to talk during the meetings, so the meetings would go an hour and a half, 2 hours longer than they should go.
Right.
And
that's painful.
So we ended up getting we changed over some board members in a few different boards that I'm on, and there's one that more people that like to talk a lot left. And so I thought the meetings were going to come down in length. But two of the new board members that we have are very careful when they choose their words during the meeting, so as to ensure they're getting their point across.
Take those dramatic pauses. Own your moment, friend.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Own your moment. Carrot. I use Nano as my excuse for why the house isn't clean. Listen, that is your prerogative as an author, as the beautiful, creative creature that you are. Right, you crazy people. Stop posting about what your character would eat for breakfast.
Well, I think that's the thing, too, is that one thing I do like about writing is, like, with my wife, she'll be like, well, you know, I have to go do something cute. Like, I know you're working. Can you watch the baby? And, yeah, it's not... When you're writing, same thing with drawing. So much of it is mental and planning that you can take a step away for half an hour and still be writing in your head and then come back and just put it down.
Yeah.
Right? Or you work through a problem or get through something. But
you
were saying with changing challenges and altering them to suit what you need and what you want, I find that works really well. And over time, I find even with contests and competitions, I find once you start getting to the point that you're changing the rules of a competition or contest, you've kind of outgrown that contest. But so you do, you've got your own challenges that you do, like the prompt challenge that you've created, and the prompt romp, which is something really cool. So I've been telling my chat about all these cool things that you do. You have to explain the prompt romp and how that is and how that works.
Sure, that's topical. Well, Carrot and Mothman know as much, they built it as much as I did. So a really common practice similar to Nanowrimo in the visual arts community is some variation of what I guess sort of the biggest, most known challenge is Inktober. And it's a prompt list, and there are 31 words, each assigned a day in October. And the goal is that artists all over the place make and post a different piece every day inspired by the prompt every day for the month of October. And this is something that's really strong for building a regular creative practice, if you want to make a daily habit of drawing, if you want to find a community that will interact and support you. It lives primarily on Instagram, but you can find it on a lot of social media platforms. Carrot, do you feel like we're being promoted to mythical creatures we cannot live up to at this point? Lies! Mothman, I deem you a mythical creature. I have bestowed upon you wings. You have glitter and crayons flung upon you. You are both in possession of very good ambient magic, my friend. Well before me, you both possessed excellent ambient magic. So people do these prompt challenges, and Inktober is kind of like the biggest, most known one, and it's come under a little bit of heat the past couple of years. It's not great. The creator has had some not great press, and you can read all about that. You can look into it if you want. Make a decision that feels right and authentic for you. I personally did not feel like Inktober was super authentic for me anymore, which left me kind of like prompt challenge homeless. which is not a big deal because there's a million creators putting out prompt lists. And I had used different prompt lists and challenges, and sometimes I would ignore the prompts and like post a story every day and all of that stuff. But I was having a really hard time getting excited about a prompt challenge this year specifically, partly because I've done it a few years in a row and I didn't really need it to make a daily drawing practice. Like I'm a full-time artist. Drawing is my oxygen. I don't need motivation to do that every day, but I did really like using it as a way to engage with a community. And lately, the most exciting place for me to engage with my community has been on Twitch. So what I decided to do was take a couple of prompt lists from creators that I really like. One is an illustrator named Furry Little Peach, who runs Peachtober every year. So again, a list of 31 words, all adorable, great challenge, great format, great community there. And there's also one that's specific to Twitch called Streamink. It's run through an account called Creatives Nook. And every day is a prompt, but it's also assigned to a different artist on Twitch. So it's not only an amazing list of prompts, it's also this like beautiful network of an artistic community that I'm just learning about. And then also great. I have the amazing jesters, these mythical creatures. We totes agree with your call to do your own thing. Plus, we think your own thing is more fun anyway. I love you back, Carrot. I love you back. So I got the jesters. I asked them to make me prompt lists. So a number of them just made up lists of random words. So I took all of those and like chucked them into a master list. And I made my own prompt list, but that was not funny enough for me. So we don't actually go in day order because I don't stream every day and I don't want to. Instead, we roll a D31 dice to decide which number we're going to pull every day. So it's randomized and like different people will roll the dice for me depending. Like sometimes I'll ask for someone to volunteer. Sometimes it'll be someone who rated us. Sometimes whoever's birthday is closest. Sometimes if you like win parachute drop or whatever, all these different things, people can roll the dice and determine which prompt we're going to take for our next drawing. And every time we use up a prompt, I just backfill it because I have 10 times as many prompts as I need now. So I have this constant regenerating list of 31 prompts. We're already at, do you guys remember, what did I say last stream? Like 25 little characters that we've designed based on these prompts. They're all amazing. And I draw them live with chat. So we decide together, like we got the prompt hand the other day, and I think it was 26 before yesterday's prompt. Yeah, nice. Mothman, I think you're right. So, and like, I never would have come up with this myself, but they were like, oh, do like a creepy one. Like you always do cute stuff, do something creepy. And we ended up with this like monster version of the hamburger helper icon, you know, with like teeth and like grody fingernails and shit. It was so fun. We made Dare Meats food safety. Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. And like, I'm funny and like I can draw and whatever, but collectively we're way funnier as a community, as a chat. So prompt romp is just the process of us randomly selecting from these prompts. And I do post the replay of the drawing process on Instagram, but mostly I take the little drawings when they're finished and I put them on my Discord, and they're like a thank you to my community for hanging out with me. So people use them as avatars. I let people use them as profile pictures and stuff. Like once I make them and put them out there, people are welcome to use them as they'd like. I also make stickers and stuff with that. I think I have, oh my gosh, this is one from not that long ago. I think the prompt was Galaxy. So I decided it was a cat. And it's like a cat eating a cupcake or something. And then what else? I think I got some doodle demands at one point. This is from, I think I told you, a streamer that I really admire, Danielle Allard, rated me, much to my sweaty delight. And so dinosaurs feature very prominently in her stream. Oh my gosh, Mothman, my love, I'm so sorry I don't have Discord in my list. Listen, Mothman, I want you to listen. I want you to get up off the floor right now. Your day is not ruined. I'll put an invite to my Discord in there. I'm so sorry, Mothman. Would you accept a link, an invite to my Discord right now? Could I interest you in that? Also, Travis, do I have your permission?
You can put a link, but Nightbot might slap you down. If it does, I'll repost it.
Okay, let's find out. Let's find out. I'm so sorry that
Night
there
bot
is
battles.
not. Mothman is a sensitive creature, okay? We can't. This is a dinosaur riot that I've incited. I don't know if you can see that flaming dinosaur. This is to be feared. Yeah, I've been timed out. I'm bad and angry, and Travis is going to fix it, but there is a Discord invite. Yeah, it's super fun. It's amazing. And this is a lot of what you and I were talking about, is that as creatives, we can sit in our little hidey holes and, you know, do our thing. But when you participate with your community and you do something that's interactive and engaging, you know, drawing something by myself and putting it on my wall is kind of cool. That's kind of fun. It's okay.
Yeah.
Making something with all of us as a riotous group of chaos monsters together, oh, chef's kiss.
Well, I watched
Chef's
the
kiss.
other day when you were doing the speaker and the microphone.
Oh yeah, the baby speaker and the
Yeah.
dad was the microphone. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I gotta say now, I'm getting myself in trouble because my chat after this is gonna be kicking me in the pants, being like, "Be more interesting, do more stuff."
What? No, listen. Hey, listen, bruvs, look at me. Listen. Travis is doing Travis for you. We don't ask a person to do a different person for us. That's why we're stream buddies, is so that we can have stream times. And like, I can't help Carrot with Nanowrimo. I can't do that. So I bring my friends here and I'm like, I don't know, ask Travis. I don't know for this. I can't help you.
Yeah,
No.
I'm always down to talk about writing, and that's one of the things I do too as a creative coach. But and that's
Oh,
so
SJ, that's awesome. I love acrylics and watercolor.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you do? I'm curious. Tell me everything.
Well,
There's a show me. Yeah, I have a show me the arts channel on Discord. Please post your artwork. There's also a fur babies. People think I'm kidding. I want to see photos of your pets. It's not. You're going to be like, oh, is that too many photos of a pet? It's not. No one understands all of them. I want to see all the photos of all the fur babies. People think that they shouldn't post. That's not true. I want to see all of the pets.
Same with
all
us.
of them.
We've got a pets channel. We've got an arts channel.
Yeah.
I'll take actually one of the things that I'll do on Discord is when people
Wicked.
submit artwork to the Discord, I'll actually turn it into a emoji for the Discord.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So
SJ, we will be good friends. Yes.
And it's-
This
I
is
gotta
why
say
you
it's-
got to have multiple streamers.
Exactly.
So that you can have
This
a
is why
super
we
stream
do
dream
this.
team.
You can
Totally.
cross paths and cross promote each other, and there's actually it's kind of funny because we're kind of reversed of each other a little bit, because I did writing a lot when I was younger, but I went more into the arts aspect of things, and then I flipped back into the literary world and realized I was having more fun playing with words than I was with pencils. And you, in your bio, says the same thing. You started in the literary side of things and realized you enjoyed the visual side of things a little bit more, so you flipped into that. But on both sides of the equation, I've seen this comment made for both sides, and I want to know I'm curious to your view on this. I know you're a professional artist, so you do it every day anyways. I'm a writer, I do it every day anyways. But especially for those that may be new or just starting out or young in their careers, the quotes that I've seen, and we can do it for writing or art, is that in order to call yourself an artist, you have to produce one piece of art every day. Or one
Who
piece
told
of
them
writing
that?
every day.
Who said that?
It was
That's
a
nonsense.
quote I saw years ago. And that was my reaction too, where I'm like, you can't quantify that way. There's another thing I saw with a female author who was talking about, she said that if you've never traveled, or if you don't travel, you can't write science fiction or future or fantasy. I was like, you're slamming the door on people's faces.
Yeah,
Like,
that
there's-
sounds a little...
Yeah.
Carrot. SJ, I'm very pleased that you have added your cat. Can I please know the cat's name?
Nice.
This is very important. Also, I would like to know what kind of stuff you paint with watercolor and acrylic at your leisure. These are my agenda items. Carrot, I hard agree with Carrot. I think she's got the right... Do you know what, though? That... So are you asking what I think about that? Or
Yeah,
if I
like,
think
do you
it's nonsense?
agree with that concept of
Oh,
that
yeah.
you have to write every day, or you have to produce a piece of artwork every day to be considered, or to call yourself an artist or a writer?
I mean, I guess it depends what you want that word to do, right? So It's interesting because if you make things on your own and you write or you create or you do whatever you want to do and you don't show it to anybody and it's bringing you joy and fulfillment and you would like to use the term writer or artist, that belongs to you. That belongs to you, and there's space for you in that word and for anybody else that wants to use it. If you want it to do a different thing, so I want the term artist for me to do two things. I want it to bring me joy and fulfillment, and also I want it to make money. I want my art to make me money. And some people want it to bring them joy and fulfillment, and they want to share it, and they want to have it be part of the world, and they want people to see it, but they don't necessarily need it to make the money. Those people are no less artists or authors or musicians or creatives. They just want that word and want that work to do something different for them. And I don't claim any ownership over that, because things belong, is it John Green? Things belong to the people who use them, not just the people who make them. If you use that word and it's working for you, congratulations, you own that word. I think there is definitely the phrase that you use, slamming the door, is apt, because that feels a little bit to me like some of that, when people are feeling a bit protective about their corner where they feel where they feel like they've earned something, or they're frightened about not being needed. You see that sometimes. Galleries can be like that sometimes. Galleries are these big, beautiful, sometimes intimidating spaces, and the message can feel like, you need me to tell you what's art. I am here in all of my pillared pomp and circumstance to tell you what's art, and you need me. And the thing that's not stated in the pillars and pomp and circumstance is that really, more than that, galleries need us to believe them. Galleries desperately need us to believe that they will tell us what's art, because otherwise they crumble. We'll remain intact either way, but a gallery in its traditional sense will vanish if we don't decide that it's important. And that can feel like gatekeeping. It isn't always, and sometimes it is, but it's not on purpose. And I think that slamming the door or protecting or putting sort of a framework, you can only use this word if, then, I don't know, that doesn't really feel authentic to me. I'm a firm believer that there's space for everybody. And if that idea is helping you make things and it's bringing you joy, amazing. You need to make a piece every day to call yourself an artist, because that's working for you and bringing you joy. If it doesn't, let it go. It doesn't serve you.
Let
it go.
And I agree. And I think that's too, like, if you can, when I first read that was when I was in the art form, and I was young and I was impressionable, and I thought, oh, okay. So I jumped in and I did that, and it helped.
Sure.
I mean, I think should be rephrased to, if you want to call yourself an artist or a writer, you should strive to, because that just means that you're practicing.
Maybe.
If you're putting out, but then my question at the time too was, so I was working on this massive oil painting. I'm like, okay, well, this oil painting is going to take me 3 months to work on. So does that mean I'm not an artist because I'm not completing something every day?
Well, but I just find that you just made the point about letting things ruminate in your mind and having to explain to your partner that thinking work that's sometimes occurring behind the scenes doesn't produce any visible content, and is no less a part of the process. And again, is that working? No. Maybe not in a tangible way that you can hold up and show the content, but that also, I think that's dialed up a little bit because of how we use social media. We have kind of like a content treadmill that I think you and I talked about this a little bit. Like, it's not real, but it is present, omnipresent.
Most definitely. And I think for writing, I think it definitely is, I would classify it as work, in the sense that if I'm sitting at my desk staring at the computer for half an hour trying to think of how I want to write this scene, or if I'm spending a half hour and then I can come down in 5 minutes, fire the words down.
Sure. It's
still, your ability, or you can sometimes unclog something else and push forward. But I just find it interesting. And I see what you wrote, Carrot, about the 3 authors saying that the only way you can be a writer is if you quit your job and do an MFA. That's interesting. And Mothman, I completely agree. To have yeah, that's artists making money, and that's not just making money from doing your art. Like there's other methods of doing things, and that's I've always been one. And Brenda and I have talked about doing art and stuff like that in the past, and I've always been one that's truly believed that if you are a friend of someone, you don't ask for a discount. I've had people in the past, other companies I've done stuff in the past, be like, well, we're friends, can you give me a discount? My response to that has always been, well, so because we're friends, I'm going to keep money in your pocket by taking money out of mine while I'm doing something for you. So if we're friends, why don't you take it, the perspective of it, of I'm not going to accept a discount because I know you're trying to make a living.
Right.
And I mean, there are still times that I'll give discounts and do different things like that, but I think to automatically assume that you're going to get a discount, and depending on what it is, more often than not, I'll actually refuse, because that's not someone. It's an artist. It's someone is trying to make a living, trying to pay something, and to have, to expect.
I'm just
a
reading
discount
Mothman's. I'm catching up on Mothman's. Mothman. We can talk about that. Absolutely. That should. I love talking about that stuff. I think it's really important and really helpful. And I don't know why it's a secret. Also, that's lovely, SJ, that you got to be in a show. Did it feel strange? Was it bizarre to have pieces? Was it because of the gallery context that it felt a bit weird, or was it just that it was in a show and the work was being sold, or what was weird about galleries are different. It's different to have your pieces in a gallery. Also, I can confirm that Carrot and Mothman, I mean, I don't know your chat, but I know that Carrot and Mothman and many members of chat, like your audience wants to support you. They really do. They want to support you. And money can feel a bit strange and a bit icky, but the people that are getting something out of your work want to support you. They really do. And there's so many ways that you can show your community how to support you. And it doesn't always have to be financial, but I think the more comfortable you can get with having finances be part of it, and the more transparent that can be. I have never had people go like, oh, God, ew, icky. Like, you're going to make money? Grow. I haven't had that experience. Exactly. I'm fortunate in that. Oh, weird. And like people are coming to see it. Like, why my art? Do you know what, SJ? It must have been doing something for them.
Yeah.
You were offering something for them. Oh, the idea that artists need to work for exposure. Yeah, that's a bit of an infuriating one. You know what, Carrot? I've been super lucky. I have not really had that request, but also I had a very different job before being an artist. So when I started oh, Medusa! Hello, Medusa. How are you, friend? So nice to see everyone. You, lovely. Welcome. We're talking about making money as artists and creatives, Medusa. We're just chatting. Yeah. Do you know what exposure is? Something.
I'm Bored Toys and Mothman.
Kevin! Hi, buddy. I'm Bored Toys is my stream bestie. Hi, Kevin. Hi, for Kevin. It's so far past your bedtime. What are you doing?
I always feel honored when people are past their bedtime for the stream.
Kevin is up way past his bedtime right now. We should all be very flattered to have Kevin's presence. Yeah, artists being asked to work for exposure is a challenge that, oh my God, that's so funny. Carrot, yes, you heard me snort with laughter. You guys are so funny. I like when I started being a full-time artist, I got to come into it with the idea that I was running a business. And so my art has always been the thing that I provide through my business. And I think that maybe is helpful. I think that makes it easy. I don't know how you feel about like the separation between, as creatives, we can feel really attached to our work. I know some people really struggle with pricing it because they're like, oh my gosh, this is me. This is my heart. This is my soul. Or like, you know, sometimes people just feel strange charging for things that they get so much joy out of. I think there can be some guilt there because we have a terrible kind of grind and hustle culture, you know. Oh, that's cool, SJ. You're in radio, so I do creative things daily, but not like my art, sadly. Listen, maybe there's a happy medium somewhere in there for both. If you're using your creative brain in a way that brings you joy, though, friend, that's light years ahead of a lot of people. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And that's the thing, is definitely it's supporting the arts, and that I agree with you on asking for money for it and saying that. I've even had that too, where I've had because there's a lot of stuff I do on stream for free, and I'm still going to do that stuff for free, but like helping people through workshops and their stories and stuff like that. But I also am an international writing mentor, and I'm a creative coach and do these other things. So I do charge for this stuff as well. It's a different level that you get when you pay, obviously. But I've also had people, and I've had this conversation with people about writing as well. Like, do I make my audiobook for free and charge for my novel? But are people going to be angry that the audiobook is free and the novel they have to pay for? And it's finding a balance for it. And I find for myself, I don't get into that. I used to get connected. I find a certain level of connection, it can be good because it can help you price things as long as you don't go overboard with it. But it does give you the ability to, if I know that I'm writing something, I'm always working in a sense that it's able to be sold, it's able to be optioned out, it's able to do something else with it, because I write in such a way that I'm fully aware that if you're reading my work, you've literally usually paid me to take up space in your head and to rent space in your head. So if I'm taking up space in your head with my words, it has to be worth it. So every time I write something, I've got that in the back of my mind. So I always, in my mind, am writing something that has value to it. And in that, I don't have an issue in charging money for it.
Right.
But it's tough to find that pricing. There's, especially in the writing world, I saw a job where they wanted to pay. It's one of those things you see advertised online all the time, and it worked out to be less than a cent a word. It was like 1 cent for every 3 words or something you wrote.
Carrot wants to quote the renting space in your head. You need a quote function too.
Oh yeah.
Carrot,
yes, that is a good idea.
You are so full of brilliant demands, friend. Also, Kevin, I'm glad you're winding down. Thank you so much for checking in, buddy. Lovely to see you.
So you
lovely to see
Carolyn before you went to school and film comp.
Very creative folks.
Yes.
Very creative folks.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love this. Like, when I first got onto... Yeah, I need to update that, SJ. When I first got into streaming, I was like, no one's going to want to sit and watch me write or talk about writing. And it's amazing that like attracts like. There's all these people that have come in that have...
Carrot, thank you for redeeming. Hail Hydrate.
Yes. Hail
friend.
Hydrate.
We have a Hydrate command on my channel too. Don't forget, we're just plants with more complicated emotions.
Cheers.
Cheers. Coffee doesn't count. Pop doesn't count. Juice doesn't count. Hydrate or dihydrate. Correct, my love.
That is water. That is vitamin water that I'm drinking.
Delicious.
That Hail Hydrate is a in the writing circles on Twitch. We have the Hail Hydrate.
Ah, cool. Very good. Having a hydrate command and having like a stretch command and stuff, just talking about things that you do with your community and what you sort of sell and what you offer for free. I think one of the things that for me has been super helpful about streaming some of my work is that I do use those drawings. I use them for multiple things, but also doing them with a group of people is part performance. Like it's part like, okay, I would love to show you how I go about doing this. Here's a behind the scenes, like here's skills, and I will joyfully display them and share them because that's super fun for everybody. But also having an audience can be super helpful for things like, oh, I'm struggling with this or that, like color or what, I'm not sure. They're a fountain of ideas, but also they're incredibly caring and supportive and will say things like, you need to stretch, you need to sit up, posture check, like drink water. It's so that you don't. Yes, SJ, stream your painting. Yes, friend, absolutely. Stream. Shout out to writers and their whiskey. Definitely at least 3 different bottles in the liquor rack right now. Oh, Karen.
Well, I've got 3 bottles right here.
Whiskey flex.
There's actually...
Mothman posture goblin. That's my posture goblin emote.
Oh, nice.
Hunched way over.
Yeah, there's a Maker's Mark.
I see Maker's Mark.
A Grants and a Glenlivet Founders Reserve up there.
Oh my god.
But I've got one downstairs. I was
so funny.
Going to open tonight, but I didn't bring it up. And it's actually Writer's Tears, which is a beautiful Irish whiskey.
Oh
but
my God.
it's this limited edition where they've mixed it. They've aged the last 12 months in an Inniskillen ice wine barrel.
Ooh.
So it's Ontario wine barrels shipped to Ireland. They only did 20 barrels and they only did 3,500 bottles. So of course I bought two of them.
Dang. Carrot is deeply pleased. I have missed
brand new.
that one. Carrot, aren't
Carrot's
you
brand
glad
new.
that
It's
you
still
came
available.
to make new friends? Be best friends with Travis. Carrot, Mothman, be best friends. Everywhere make best friends. I have the Oaks Cast Marcella and the Copper Pot. Did
How's
you
the
see-
Marcella? I haven't tried
You
it.
have
I
a new
almost bought the
dip
Marcella and I didn't buy it.
See, now we're getting down to business. Now we're getting things done here. Also, SJ, you have a dip pen. Tell me everything. Is it made of glass? I bought her several writer's tears as a result of it being fantastic and topical.
That's
Nice,
wonderful.
Mothman.
Yeah,
Elegant.
there's a lot of us have. So I've actually got here one of my dip pens, which I keep in its box.
Ooh.
Which is a nice amber one.
Oh, Travis, it's beautiful.
But I've got two that I truly
Is yours
love.
glass too, SJ? That's wicked.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion if you have a dip pen,
Pretty.
unless it's a quill, it should definitely be glass. But I've got two that I keep in this lovely little box because I'm just fancy that way.
You're very fancy. You are a fancy man. Let it be known. Let it be known. Travis is a fancy man.
Yes.
Penflex. Hashtag Penflex. Yeah, put it on Discord,
So
SJ. We were
here-
having a heated conversation about pens. I think that's already, I can't remember what thread it's in, but there has been debate.
Oh, really?
Strong feelings. That's beautiful.
This is one that I truly love, though. It's got a beautiful
Oh, wow.
to it. And it's got this
That is
spiral
elegant.
quill, so it actually picks up a lot of ink and holds it very well.
Gotcha.
But yes, that's one thing that we all have on this stream is we spend way too much money on pens and way too much money on ink and notebooks.
You know, if it brings you joy, there are worse things to be excessive about. Mothman, I would very much like for you to try that and tell me everything. Mothman, if you 3D print it, I'll use it on stream. We'll do a
awesome.
3D printed designed by Mothman. We'll have a whole like tools of the trade done and done. You
And
can
I
even
would
make a
Totally buy one
doodle
from you.
demand and I'll send it back. Yeah, Mothman's good too. We do, oh my gosh, that's the other thing that I really like about so I made doodle demands for my channel points. Channel points are the best. I friggin' love the whole concept of channel points. The idea that there's a non-monetary way to celebrate, like, you're here, you're showing support, you're hanging out, and I am constantly overwhelmed by the fact that, like, I really like the fact that Twitch has so many ins for people to, like, you can gift subs, you can subscribe at different levels, you can cheer bits, all of those things. But one of my favorites is that there's also this entire system of channel points, which is just thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. If you're just here and you're watching, and one of the channel point rewards that I have is doodle demands, so people can activate it and say, I want a doodle of, and then they name something. And then there's a very special one that's for crayon doodles, which is a very specific, I get actual crayons out and I do a drawing with crayon, and I work a little bit of a story into the crayon doodle ones, and they're wonderful.
That
Yeah,
is
you
awesome.
can get dundered. Exactly, Mothman. There's a couple of people, I have been so lucky to have a few people who are like raging chaos monsters that just come and like gift subs. Insanity, just are absolutely bananas, and will come in and their goal is to break the streamer. And do they ever know how to do it? And Dunder Mifflinity, actually, this is a Dunder muffin. This doodle for Udall was a thank you to Dunder Mifflinity. This is the muffin, Dunder muffins.
That is awesome.
Oh, do you want a crayon doodle? We can do a crayon doodle. Carrot, listen, I'm a guest in this house, so you gotta ask Travis if he
By all
wants to
means.
do a crayon
Yes.
doodle. Do you want a crayon doodle, my friends?
Yes,
Okay,
doodle in
let's do a little,
chat. And
let's do a little crayon doodle for Udall. Okay. So
Dunder
on
is
my
50
channel,
to 200 times subs at a time. Wow.
yeah, it's bananas. It's wonderful. It's absolutely incredible. It's also humbling and overwhelming in a way that I had not yet experienced. Okay. My loves, my
Thank
friends,
you
my...
for the follow, or for the raid, Erie Hallows. Welcome. Join us all.
Yay!
Welcome, Raiders.
Hello, Raiders! Welcome, Raiders! Hi, friends! Hi, friends! Love Raid. Love your dang self. Don't burn out for the turnout. Hydrate before you
Nice.
dehydrate. I like this. Erie Hollows. I like it.
There we go. I gotta say though, speaking of channel points, I feel bad because Darius has built up all these channel points. They're called ink drops.
Oh,
And he
I
keeps
like that. That's pretty.
every time he tries to throw them at me, and he's going for like the 5,000 to 1,000 level ink drops, and every time he does it, it's either blocked, not on the right channel, or there's something. So I owe Darius like 15,000 ink drops at this point.
That's okay. You know what? Feeling like you and your community are in a constant back and forth is kind of a beautiful thing. Do we want a Crayon Doodle? Do we want to try Crayon Doodle right now? Okay.
Of course.
All right. So a Crayon Doodle is usually a combination of two things. A Crayon Doodle is where I will actually make you a drawing and I will make it out of crayon. And I'll talk a little bit about why I use crayon. And usually there's a little sneaky mental health and wellness worked in. It's like a subtext, but it's still in there. So I'm going to do a little Crayon Doodle specifically for this channel. And I'm going to do them for all of the bruvs and all of the jesters that are here. And I'm also going to use crayons. Crayons are very important. Very important because crayons do some very special things. Crayons take us back to a lovely special place before we realized that we could make a bad drawing. And writers might resonate with this if you think about the time before you knew if a story was good or not. Because when we're young, we write and we dance and we sing and we draw as a way to tell ourselves stories. And we don't worry too much about whether the story is good or not. And I have a very special secret for you about your drawings and your paintings and your writings and your songs and your dances. And that is that they don't actually care if they're good or not. They are happy just to exist. So you can let go of that fear, that concern, that worry that tells you that you should be fearful about whether or not the thing that you make is good. So this is why I use crayons, because it helps me get back to the place before I knew I could make a bad drawing. But the other thing that I'm going to do specifically for you here on this channel is that I'm going to do a doodle for Yoodle that is specifically about something I've been thinking about lately. And that is the idea of having many balls in the air. And that's already come up a couple of times on this stream. Having many balls in the air is something that creatives do a lot. And it's really important. It's really lovely. It's something that we should be able to do. And also, it can feel like juggling. It can get really, really overwhelming. And the thing that I want to point out, and the thing that I want you to remember, and the thing that I'm actually drawing to remind you and to remind myself, is that when you are a creative with many, many balls in the air, remember that some of those balls are rubber and some of them are glass. And if at some point, my loves, my friends, my jesters, my bruvs, my new friends and old, if at some point you are looking at the colossal arc of balls that you have flying overhead and you feel yourself begin to be taken over by panic, fear not. Look at all of those balls in the air and remind yourself or ask your community which one is rubber, which one is glass. I'll give you a hint. Your mental health is glass. You never drop that one. But something like keeping up with social media, something like keeping up with all of your emails, something even like doing the laundry or making a Pinterest-worthy home, that one, I promise, is rubber. And if you drop it, I guarantee that it will bounce. And if you hold on to the glass one, if you keep your mental health one close, if you take care of the ones that are glass and hold tight to the ones that will shatter, you will pick up the rubber balls another time and they will be there patiently waiting for you. And if you need a reminder, if you are not sure which ones are rubber, which ones are glass, get out some crayons and do some doodles. They will be an excellent reminder. So this is my glass ball. This one is mental health. This is my rubber ball. It is almost everything else. If at any point you feel that powerful overwhelm of too many balls in the air, ask yourself or poll your community which one is rubber and which one is glass. That is a doodle for Yoodle, my friends. Thank you for the prompt, Carrot.
I love it.
Thank you for
That
the
is
prompt.
awesome.
That was really kind of you, Carrot, for requesting that. Yeah, crayons are good magic. They are good magic. We did a doodle of Carrot. This is Carrot. We also did, this is a crayon doodle. This was Chaotic Llama. We had a little story about Chaotic Wholesome Llama. Thank you. I really needed some of that vibe I'm so glad, Mothman. I am so glad that you found something that you needed. Yes, SJ,
Yes.
rubber versus glass. I literally cannot get enough of that spiel. I need to get it tattooed on my forehead. Carrot, could we find a happy medium between hear it and forget it and tattoo it on our foreheads? I bet we can find something in between that will work. Not to tell, listen, body autonomy, you do you, my love. But I'm glad that resonated.
Yeah.
I hope that it helps.
And I'm really happy that you did that, 'cause that's actually a big part of this stream as well, is mental health. We do,
Happy medium. I will make an appointment.
Sorry,
Travis, go ahead.
Oh no, but
pardon me.
we make mental health a really big, it's a big aspect of this community, and a lot of my community members know I battle PTSD, anxiety, and depression since my accident, and it's one thing I have to say. I've got a phenomenal community here. My chat, my fellow scribes are all absolutely amazing. So we do talk about it. We do talk about it openly. We support each other, and I've actually had points where we've had people come in a mental health crisis on stream, or contact via Discord in a mental health crisis, and I've actually seen my moderators drop everything in their lives to get mental health support to someone that was going through a crisis.
Wow.
When I wasn't available. Like when my wife was giving birth, there was something that went down, and my mods jumped in and they helped out this person. And we actually have commands that SJ can put up in chat that give you the mental health phone numbers and contact information for the UK, for the United States, for Canada, and for other countries around the world. That you can just type in a chat command if you're having difficulty. Because while we're here to listen and we can support and we can commiserate, we're not trained psychologists. We're not here to solve your problems. And we can help solve by listening, but we're not paid psychologists. And if you actually are going through something, then that's when we recommend to reach out for help.
Definitely agree, Medusa. Mods do incredible work. Big love to the mods with a Danny Allard emote.
Yes.
It's interesting, Travis, because you were just kind of not chastising yourself, but you were just noticing how much you would like to have more, do more, have redeems, all of those things. But I would call that a rubber ball that will still be there. And things like if you share about mental health openly on your channel and you make a space where it feels safe for others to do so, I would call having those resources a glass ball. Yeah. And you instinctively, naturally prioritized having the glass ball held carefully versus letting the rubber ball bounce.
Exactly.
Which is incredible. There's always a difference between the could and the should, and most of the time the should is simply a could. Hard agree, Carrot. Hard agree.
And that's the thing, though. It is, and I love the connection of the glass balls and rubber balls. That's such a great way of looking at it. And because we can be very hard on ourselves. And that's one of the big things I talk about in writing as well, is to what goes in writing goes in life as well, and don't self-edit. Or don't count yourself out, because when you're writing a story, you're in it for months, you're really deep into it. All the surprises are no longer surprising, all the twists are no longer twisty. And you get to this point where you start second guessing yourself, and you're halfway through writing and you think you should go back and try to edit and change this and tweak that. Or you just stop because you know what, that's not what I thought it was going to be, and you kind of self-censor, and that's not up to you to do that. The reader hasn't read the work. They haven't spent that much time with it. It's all surprising for them. The twists are still twisty for them. And you can't edit a blank page. So get your story out first and then go back and tweak and change it. Don't edit halfway through. Get your story out. And it's the same thing in life. Don't stop and second guess yourself. I mean, unless you're thinking about going and robbing a bank. Then maybe stop and second guess yourself. But other than that,
I don't know. There's been some really great. There's some really great. Look at Carrot wants to quote you more. We're also getting some awesome, kind of almost testimonial for the bravery that is in treatment. Oh my God, I am overwhelmed by being impressed by all of you. That is incredible. Also, I like that. Everybody's also really thinking to shout out the mental health professionals that were there. That's wonderful. I am really glad to hear that. And also, did you just read SJ's because of the stream I had the courage to do? my first reading. That's something to be proud of there, bud.
Yes, thank you. And she actually
That's the
nailed it
stream
too.
doing good work.
I was working that day, and I stopped all work to pop in and watch that stream.
Wicked!
And actually really nailed the reading.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
And
Can we just talk about the magic of the internet for making all of that possible? It really makes me happy.
When we're younger, because like I know some people in my chat aren't of the same generation as me, and I was through the.
I don't know how old my chat is. I don't know. I just assume we're all. I don't know.
Yeah, well, for us, I know some in particular, but
yeah,
it's in the beginning of the internet. It was always don't talk to strangers. Don't. Like, doing what we're doing now when the internet first came out would have been unthinkable.
Right.
I mean, you still have to be careful now, right? But
and but that's also the process awesome. Of like, you know, when a neighborhood at first is seen as not being desirable, and then as more and more people move into it and love it and find community there, then it becomes more and more plausible to more and more people. I feel like the internet has some of those similar story arcs where now you can find community in a way that you never ever could before. We also, I mean, especially, I'm loath to talk too much about this, you know, global Panda Express that we're currently experiencing, but like to seek community online as opposed to in the physical space, I think is even more helpful and crucial, and we've adapted to make that even more comfortable maybe than it ever has been, and I love it. I think it's amazing.
I think I couldn't agree with you more. It's absolutely amazing for that. But and for those of you that are wondering what the baby comment that SJ had is, when I started streaming, we realized that my wife was pregnant, and so we had a baby countdown on stream for when the baby was coming. And just last week, she just turned 6 months. I don't know if this will show up on camera well or not, but she also, today, we just took a photo that she has learned how to sit up by herself.
Wow, look at it.
So
look at that sitting up.
That's the little scribe one.
Adorable.
I actually just deleted the baby commands, SJ, today, surprisingly.
How come?
Because it
what
was...
were they?
Well, there were two baby commands. One was the baby countdown, and she's here.
Okay.
And the other one was the baby born, and that was April 6th. That was 6 months ago. So.
I see.
But yeah, so she's sitting down, and we actually got her into. She's now eating oatmeal, peanut butter, carrots, sweet potatoes, and peas. So.
Listen, I would live on that. That sounds delicious. Sounds like a delicious diet. That's pro sitting right there. So chunk.
Yeah.
Beautiful, says Medusa. Not carrots, JK. JK. Carrot is also a ginger for the winter. So.
Oh, nice.
Strong affinity for carrots. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that you've been able to share that with your community. That's wicked.
It's great. It really does. And that's the thing. It is a community that is built. And but I love the fact that you do. And that's one of the things I like. One bit of advice I learned when I first started Twitch, I happened to come across it accidentally. I think it was before my first stream. And it was one of the best pieces of advice I had ever come across. And that was make your stream your own. A lot of people fall into the trap of seeing a stream that they really like and they want to try to emulate some part of that and blend that in and try to... Then you become a mishmash of everybody else's streams, and you're not being authentic to yourself, so it's hard to upkeep with everything. And so that was the biggest thing, was like, that's why I do these streams and where I interview and bring in other creatives and things like that, because it's not... I don't have a fear of being left behind. I'm one that fully believes in you get ahead by pushing other people in front of you, and they'll help lift you up. And if you're ahead, then you turn back and you help lift people up. And that's something that is... Thank you for the follow, Medusa. And that's something that I find is very big. So when you're doing this, like, it's great to see all this fun stuff that you're doing. And I was being a little tongue-in-cheek earlier when I was saying my chat was going to give me a kick, because you've got this great stuff that you've got set up, and I've got this great stuff I've got set up. And having, it wouldn't... What you do wouldn't work for the vibe that I've got set up, and what I do wouldn't work for the vibe that you've got set up. But it's
Certainly
nice to introduce people to other vibes, so that if they're not feeling like a writing vibe, they want something that's more artistic and visual, then they can pop through to your stream and see, like,
Totally.
you share the love, you share the wealth. It's amazing.
We actually, a lot of times when we're deciding, I mean, at a couple of points during streams, so at the beginning of every stream, I usually have a poll, and it's just a list of choices for what rabbit hole we want to go down first. So I have a few things. We have our very busy business to get through, and then chat will choose what we want to start with, and then at the end of streams, we'll typically choose again whether we feel like music or writing or storytelling or Lego build. We have a heavy Lego loving contingent in my following as well, so we often
awesome.
have like brick building and stuff. And to get to sort of share that decision making process, I think is also it for me anyway, as an artist. I am a community engaged artist first, so to be able to kind of like take the temperature of your chat and find out kind of what people are enjoying and what they want to do first and what games and what interactions, I find all of that immensely helpful, because the things that I do on stream would not work if I didn't have a bunch of interaction from chat. Oh, Carrot's looking into that writer's tears. There will be a trip happening tomorrow. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah, Carrot.
I mean,
but yeah, the stuff that I'm doing wouldn't work if people weren't enjoying it, and if it didn't resonate for them, none of it would function. So any amount of, enjoyment and success and fun that we've gotten to have together on stream belongs as much to the chat and to the jesters and to the people who have supported me as it does to me. That is very much a shared success. We all get part in that. I used to work for the company that owned Illiskillin, so I obviously need it. Woo, Carrot.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Carrot, something that I do. Because as you can probably tell, I've got my fingers in a lot of different pots. And some of those pots are investing. So one of the things, and my chat knows this, that I like to do for investing is if there's a limited edition, like this Inniskillen one, is limited edition, there's only 3,500 bottles. So if it's a bottle of Scotch or Irish whiskey or something that comes from a limited cask run, is numbered, or something along those lines, or that it's being discontinued, I will, like the Belvini Doublewood is being discontinued. What's available now that's it, and then they're changing the formula, they're changing the format and rebranding it. I actually wrote the LCBO to find out about this. But it didn't, because I heard it was discontinued. So I ended up ordering 3 bottles from across Canada because, one, I really like it. And the other thing is, when these limited edition casks run out, when these things that are shut down run out, the value of the bottles rise. So when when you buy a bottle, buy 2. One to drink and one to set aside. And down the road, you can auction those as an investment.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Travis, what a good hustle.
It's actually one of my financial advisors.
Investment scribe. the hustle scribe.
Well, that's it. Well, I've got, I think, 5 bottles downstairs now that are set aside specifically just to raise money down the road.
SJ, thank you for spamming the Discord. Thank you. Oh no, Mothman, the only problem with that, you got to be willing to sell the bottle.
Well, see, but that's where it's a 2 sides of the coin, because if it never goes up in value, or if you decide you don't want to sell it, then you just have a really nice aged bottle of Scotch. That's sat there.
Right.
But yeah, so I haven't tried that one yet. But you've worked for Inniskillen, that is awesome. So one of the other things I do too is because I've got the Maker's Mark, because one of the scotches that I really like from Lafroig is actually aged in Maker's Mark barrels. So when I bought that Lafroig barrel, that bottle, I also bought the Maker's Mark. And when I bought this Inniskillen ice wine, Writer's Tears, I also bought a bottle of ice wine from Inniskillen. So you can try it by itself.
I like Inniskillen ice wine.
Exactly.
Like Inniskillen ice wine. It tastes like candy.
Oh, it's like syrup. It's beautiful.
Delicious, delicious candy. And I have a baby child palate, so this is what I want.
Well, I've always got candy beside me here. So. But yeah, so you can actually taste the scotch, and then taste the barrel that it came from, and see if you can pick up those notes as you go through.
Vidal, Riesling, Cab Franc, Carrot wants details.
I don't remember.
Details.
I don't remember. It's just the only Inniskillen ice wine the LCBO had.
Right.
But yeah, they only took 20 barrels, so. But yeah, there's some really, really.
You've gotten into the deep cuts of whiskey and fancy boozes. It makes me very happy. Carrot, I'm so glad that you can participate.
Oh, nice! Yeah, that is awesome. I actually
Carrot
have.
Mothman are awesome.
I've got a thing that I was starting a Scotch club before the pandemic hit, and so that will eventually happen. But I've got a thing where I actually have given myself $150 a month allowance to buy Scotch, so my collection has grown. Or I can save that and buy a really nice fancy bottle that I normally wouldn't buy for that amount. Although I think I am pausing that because as I announced to my chat the other day, I get to do something I never thought I would ever hear myself say in life. I've chosen my own adventure. I've chosen in books. I've chosen my own storylines and all that other stuff. In a couple of weeks, I get to go choose my own teeth. With my accident, I lost. They had to pull several teeth out of my head because of my accident. Yeah. And now they're finally going to be replacing them. So I'm going to have new teeth being put in, and I get to go to the dentist and I get to choose my teeth.
What? Weird.
So the Scotch is going to calm down for a little while. The Scotch buying is going to calm down while I pay for my teeth. They're not cheap.
That sounds like it would be expensive. Okay, I get to choose my teeth. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, but that does sound like. Have you decided? Are you going to like have perfect, like poster style?
I'm lucky in that I have all my teeth here. It's actually molars that are missing.
Oh, okay.
So after the accident, they had to extract 7, reconstruct 9, and fill 2. Being hit by a car, like I say on chat, is a 2 out of 10. I would not recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I can see why. Yeah. I can see why. I also need new teeth. Oh, SJ. Go together. Maybe you guys can get like a package deal. Maybe they'll do like a discount for like bulk toothes. Maybe exactly. You can ask her. Also, I want you know I was listening, but I was like adding colors and stuff. I was just gorgeous. Enjoying. The crayons are so close, and I can smell them. You know, crayon smell so good. Yeah, discount. Get a bulk discount. Be like, what if we all come together?
Yeah, this kind of devolved into weird topics.
Talking about whiskey.
Whiskey is never a weird topic. That is
evolved. The word is evolved. You art what? Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love crayon smell too. Oh, Medusa!
Oh, Medusa, thank you very much. That is awesome. I greatly appreciate that.
Medusa's always coming in and just gifting subs. My goodness, Medusa, you are a treasure. You're an absolute treasure. Kindest, loveliest.
You got hit by a car in a minor way when you're young. Someone else paying attention hit you on your bike. They poked their head out to ask if you're okay. Got out to check if their car was. But yeah, people have. When I got hit, my bike was mangled, and it was my race bike. And the guy that hit me was like, "Well, it's just a toy. I don't need to replace it." I'm like, that was my mode of transport.
Oh no, that's terrible. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
But one thing I have to say with the Wax Seal Productions, I have now, I think, there's 2 points. One being, I now know of, I think, 5 people that are getting into wax sealing. I'm slowly bringing this art form back because of this.
Wicked.
And as when we were talking before, and we're talking about mods and gifts and stuff like that, and I was saying that one of my mods is getting married, and I bought them as a wedding gift. They're a wax set to do their envelopes. That's right. That's our very own SJ.
Which is so lovely. SJ, I got to hear about this, and it's fantastic. Wedding invites, that's so awesome.
Yes.
What a cool use of wax seals.
Yes.
Love it.
So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the upcoming wedding. That is
rightly so.
Fantastic.
Rightly so. That's beautiful.
That's another part of the community, is being able to celebrate and support everything, and everyone, like, and what we're doing. And that's one thing I really try to do, and I see that you do too. Is that it's not when you go on stream, it's not about me. It's about supporting the community. It's about giving back. Because as you were saying with the ideas you get, the same thing with the writing. Yeah. It's fantastic writing on stream, because if you get stuck, you've got people like, oh, have you thought about doing this? And then there's also, I've got people that I'll be writing a scene, and I've had people that are like astrophysicists or work in science or something be like, actually, the science behind that scene doesn't make sense. You need to do this and this, or have you thought of doing this and this? And it adds so much depth to the stream, to the story, to the writing, to everything. And it also holds your feet to the fire, that you're not doing any lazy writing or trying to skip out on something. That's yeah, it's awesome. But you seal your letters with wax as well, Carrot? That is awesome.
Why am I not remotely surprised?
I'd love that. I actually did an example for chat the other day. I'm going to be doing a video on how it works. But just
it's
silver.
Beautiful.
On how that works.
So pretty.
And I broke the rules. It's silver.
What are the rules? I don't understand.
The old etiquette for wax sealing was, as they put it, no self-respecting gentleman would use metallic colors. Because they were considered the quote-unquote gay colors.
Oh.
So brass, gold, or silver, no self-respecting man would use. So, of course, I used them all.
Well, good for you for breaking that rule. That's a dumb rule.
It is.
Yeah, you can use all colors crayons. Darn right.
That is it.
Darn right. Also, that implies that being a gay man is in some way derogatory, which is absolutely something I would love to see people chuck right out the window. That is disgusting. Good job. Yeah. I don't like it. I like that. That's one we can let go of. That's an ideal we can let go of.
Yeah. Cool. It'd be nice to see that stuff kind of slowly shift over time. But what are we doing here? We have blown past our hour, which I'm totally okay with. I don't know.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure, friend.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it enormously. It was so good. Also, thanks for coming, chat.
Yes, thank you all for being here, and thank you for the follows and for the gifted subs and everything. That's fantastic. There is actually a
pansexual can be hard to explain. Yeah, SJ. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it can be.
That's tricky.
Say thanks.
I would like to quickly say thanks for the gift sub. Oh, I was off working on my printer and completely missed that. That was Medusa, Mothman. The magical Medusa, as per usual, swooping in and gifting subs. So nice.
Yes, that is awesome.
It's informative and enjoyable. Really I'm so glad, Medusa. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
So my surprise, there's always a surprise question when it comes to these streams and these interviews and things like that.
Do you go surprise before and after you ask it?
That's what chat's supposed to do.
Surprise! Chat, find surprise emo sound alert. Applause!
Oh, Moth, I can see. I don't know if someone can.
I'm frazzled about your alert. Thank you, Carrot.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if someone out there is smarter than me, but one of the things that I have is my desktop audio is put through one channel. It's not split. So to make it so that people can hear you, I have to have the volume up almost full blast.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we did that actually during one of the interviews, and someone rated, and there was like the brrr sound that came through and like deafened everybody, and all flew out their speakers.
Oh no!
So I mute the sounds when I'm on.
Mothman saying the tech didn't work, but the Brenda did. I will supply feel free to spam with all of your sound effects. I will be making the sound effects. Nobody wants this. I guarantee nobody wants this, but I would do it. Yes, I am ready to be surprised. Tell me you're shocking. I want this, Mothman. For you, anything, friend. Mothman, we'll do that on an Art and Jest stream. Listen, we're guests at the Calm Scribe. It's like in the title. We're supposed to be calm. I'm on my best behavior. Drum roll.
So the question being is, of any artist throughout history, seeing how we are sharing a stream,
right?
Who would you most prefer to have on stream with you? Of any artist in history, if you could co-host a stream with another artist, who would you choose?
If they're gonna co-host a stream with me, I think I'd pick Danny Allard right now. I would choose a musician for sure. And Danielle, we've talked about this in chat. So Carrot and Mothman are actually both jesters as a result of a massive raid that I got from Danny. So I, you know, if we're talking about any artist living or dead, I mean, if I was co-streaming with someone, I would kind of want it to be someone who was enjoying the pleasure of a stream. And as much as I think it would be kind of like a cool flex or like a bit of street cred to pick, like, I don't know, like Yoshitomo Nara or Banksy, or I don't know. So like somebody, what would happen with them in a stream? How would that look? And I really do think that, particularly when it comes to streaming, that relationship is symbiotic. Like I am trying as much as possible to give people this beautiful, positive experience, and they are rewarding me with their attention. And one of the people that I really admire, it's through Danny that I met Brenda. Yeah, Medusa, Fran. Danny and I, very early in the pandemic, did a little bit of live streaming together on Facebook. And we just went on Facebook Live, and it was incredibly helpful to like try that out with someone else who was trying it out. And since then, she's actually built like an incredible, profoundly positive, uniquely supportive community that I have so much admiration and respect for. And I have been welcomed in as a citizen of that community, which is incredible. And also, that whole community has been incredibly kind to me as a baby streamer. So if we're talking about someone that I think it would be a really incredible experience to co-stream with for me, and I would have a great time, but also the experience for the community would be something uniquely fun and special, I think I'd pick Danny Allard. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great...
If I was going straight art streamer, I think I'd pick Let's Brock, because Let's Brock has the most like contentious relationship with his chat, and I just think it'd be incredibly funny to have my like, I love you so much you can do it, and him being like, my chat is always chirping me and blah blah blah. If you haven't checked out Let's Brock, you definitely should. Yeah. If I'm not going with like the cool flex of like a historical figure or something, which just doesn't quite feel right for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool question. I like it.
Thanks. I've got one of my heroes in life has always been Leonardo da Vinci, and he's actually factored into my science fiction story.
Naturally, so as he should, as one of the earliest sci-fi weirdos to ever, my God, to ever be. Fibonacci sequence is like the essence of some kind of like secret codex, you know? That's like the deep dark arts of sci-fi for sure.
Exactly.
Carrot, one of my grade school teachers used to put on classical music and we had to sketch to it. Yeah. I suddenly need Brenda's sketches to Danny's songs. Oh, my love. Well, maybe one day. Maybe one day. Awesome. We'll see. Carrot has a question for you.
Who is a writer you would go crazy and faint if you met them? Oh, that's a great question.
Faint specifically.
Faint specifically, yeah. I don't even know what I would say to that. There's so many. I've been compared a lot. I've had people say that my writing style is a mixture between it's gonna sound funny, but depending on what I'm writing, but a mixture between Stephen King and Hemingway, or Rob Zombie. Because I do some horror writing as well. So I would probably say like Hemingway would definitely be one that would be up there, but I would actually, for that, the one I would really love to say would be, and I'm blanking on his name right now.
What did they write? Carrot will probably know.
Well, Oscar Wilde, I would freak out if I were to meet.
Sure.
And The Importance of Being Earnest. Why am I blanking that? No, that's Wilde. Oscar Wilde. Yeah.
Oh, you were blanking on the author.
Yeah, on the author of that. I was like, The Importance of Being Earnest.
I see.
So, but yeah, Hemingway or like Wilde, I would absolutely love to meet as well. Shakespeare, definitely. And for more contemporary, I would love to meet Neil Gaiman. I would have loved to have met Robert Jordan as well. Anyone that can write a 4,800,000 word story and keep you enthralled throughout it is a pretty damn good writer. Though, to be fair, Brandon Sanderson wrote the last two books because Jordan passed away, unfortunately.
Neil
Thoughts on
Gaiman is
Sanderson?
also incredibly generous on social media and seems like he would probably be the loveliest. Like, I bet Neil Gaiman would have no problem streaming very
Oh yeah,
naturally.
and he does awesome stuff. I saw someone where, like, I don't know if you've seen it, but a kid wrote him a letter saying that my English teacher says we cannot refer to a writer by their first name unless we know them personally. So he actually sent a tweet to Gaiman. He's like, and sent this, and he's like, "Well, I'm Neil. You're so and so." And he's like, "Now we know each other. You can use my first name."
That's adorable. Yes, that's such subtle anarchy. Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I love it. That's so good.
On Sanderson, I have to say, I was terrified when Jordan died because that was everyone's fear. When you're 15 books into a series and the author dies, and you're that close to the end. But Jordan did such a great job of working with his wife, taking notes, working with Sanderson because he knew he was going to die, and organizing things. I think he nailed the ending. I think he did a fantastic job. He really paid homage to the entire story going through, and I am a fan of Sanderson. I will admit I like what he does, and I like what he did with that. Though I also love Terry Pratchett as well. Like Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, Good Omens was a fantastic book.
Did you ever read The Pale King that they published after DFW died? And it's like not completely perfect.
No, I haven't read that.
It's interesting. It's a very strange, if especially for an author like David Foster Wallace, who would have hated that. And David Foster Wallace was like objectively a deeply troubled, not a good dude, but a very precise, relentlessly meticulous author. And after he died, they published The Pale King, and it's got a little bit of weirdness, like some sections that appear more than once, but they sort of like collected it as it was and published it. And I can remember reading it and being like, oh my God. And it's still good. Like, it still reads like DFW. I still enjoyed it, but it's one of those things that, like, you just know the author would have been so upset.
See, there's a thing with that, and that brings up another point as well.
Maybe not. I don't know what it was.
But well, no, because it was the same thing with the sequel to, or the prequel to Kill a Mockingbird. That was never meant to see the light of day.
Sure.
And in my mind, if you've got an author who would not want something published, I'm of the argument of don't publish it.
Right.
Like leave that be.
Right.
But the one thing, an article I saw, I'm going to try to find it and post it in the Discord for people to read. We do have a Discord, SJ, if you can put the command up there.
I think SJ's been doing work for you. SJ's been chucking links. Yeah.
Yeah, she has absolutely nailed it. But that's,
in addition to somehow finding time to spam my Discord with all of the marvelous photos of artwork and fur babies. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
But this article was on Sylvia Plath.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a good article because it was talking about the fact that, like, DFW and all these other writers, and even Hemingway had his problems. And it was commenting on the concept of, I don't know if you'd call it misogyny or sexism in the writing world, which there's still a ton of, but this concept that she did so many wonderful works. She was such an amazing writer. She had so many intricacies. She led such an interesting life. And all she's known for is her mental health and killing herself. Right? Like, that's when everyone talks about Sylvia Plath, you think of the bell jar, but you also think of, like, people make gas jokes and oven jokes and all this other stuff. And that was the whole point of this article, is why is it when there's other male authors who have committed suicide, have had mental health issues, have had major things that have gone down in their life, that's never brought up, that's never talked about. The focus is on their work, not what they went through. But as soon as someone like Plath, then the focus stops being on her work and it just goes on to her mental health and the struggles that she went through. It was a fascinating article, and it was kind of eye-opening with that. But
it's Hanshi just with the head. That's apt.
To
summarize. Welcome. Well done. Good summary. Not like this. Not like this. I like it. Well said. Well emoted, friend.
Yes, good evening, Atashi. Welcome. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that's in the writing world. There's still a lot of female authors that need to use male pen names just because
I have terrible, but perhaps in some way uplifting news for you, friend. That is the case everywhere. It, alas, is not exclusive to the writing world, and also is one of those things that, similar to the choice of metallic wax, that we can slowly, steadily, individually, ritualistically, regularly, and relentlessly disregard.
Yeah. That's it. And yeah, Carrot, you're right with the RIP JKR. That's not opening a can of worms. But I've never seen someone just not shoot themselves in the foot, but like blast themselves.
Shame they never found out who wrote Harry Potter, isn't it? Such a sin we never found out who that author was.
Yeah, that was something that like I see someone torpedo themselves so severely. That's a level of self-sabotage. That's on another level.
I mean, to have your back turned to the world to a degree that it can change so completely outside of your notice is something I think we can do by accident, but more often is something that we do on purpose. And if you have found yourself so completely out of touch with how the world changes, it's not that you're not entitled to disagree, but you are not entitled to attention.
And that's the thing, is that it just, and it wasn't just once. It was like doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down.
Full disclosure, I know that to be a different experience for some people. I never read the Harry Potter series. I do not feel a connection to those books. And I can completely appreciate how that experience would be different if you were someone who read those books, grew up with them, and then had the experience of feeling betrayal entrenched in that. I haven't had that emotional experience, and I can't pretend to know what that's like, and I don't wish to be dismissive of it. So I do, it is something that I choose not to support, but also I recognize that's maybe a bit of an easier choice for me because it wasn't something I felt a really strong kinship with before. So, well,
definitely. But it's also, I think, just from my perspective of, because I read some of the books, I watched some of the movies. I was never a big Potter fan. There's actually, again, not opening a can of worms, but if you do research and look into it, before Harry Potter came out, Neil Gaiman had a book series about a young boy wizard who had round glasses with a scar on his forehead, who also had an owl as a pet, that did all these wizarding things at a school. So there was, in the very beginning, there was a lot of people were trying to make accusations and things. I don't know where that went. I don't think Gaiman ever had his back up about it. But for me, it was just to see someone build a career and then say something that backlashed on them and then double down on it. And then go around another angle and hit it the same bell from another side multiple times. And just watching things fall away from you as you did this. It's like trying to climb up a sandy dune and watching the sand fall away, and you just keep, do you see this wave coming at you and just keep still trying to climb up that sandy dune?
Sure.
Kind of wild.
Well, and I think what Mothman is describing that Carrot went through is that to me is a much more profound loss. To grieve that loss, I think, is a much more feeling thing than for me to say, I no longer support this person that I did not feel connected to begin with. That's a bit of a throwaway statement. I mean, bully for me, whatever. What does that matter? But for people who found an immense sense of community, or for whom those books really resonated, or my God, think of the people who were young reading those books, or who are young reading those books, to find out that they are somehow invalidated by that creator. That's something that I see as being a much more devastating thing to recover from, and I hope that people find support in that moment, because it would be a very difficult thing to have to go through that because it is grieving a loss. It's absolutely grieving a loss.
And honestly, I think they will.
What's that saying? Your heroes are dead. All your heroes are dead, and then in 2020, all your heroes are dead to you. Yeah. But
I think I think you're right on that, and I think people will find their way through, because there's a lot of writers out there, like William S. Burroughs and not Palanchuk, but the other, blanking on the names, but a lot of writers that had some really dicey past, did some really terrible things in the past, and their writing is still loved and being read and moving forward, and people have not been able to kind of separate the two, being like, I don't agree with what they did, but this work was this. And I think the same thing is going to happen where the Harry Potter books are objectively, they're good books, they're well written, they start young and they grow with the reader, and it's the whole concept and everything behind it is fantastic. And I think the story is going to maintain, and that power is going to maintain. And I think in time, as dust settles, people will separate author from story and
there is also,
move forward. But I would say don't look into it, SJ. It's not worth it.
SJ is making a good point about separating author from work, and I think one of the things that's tricky, maybe not tricky, but just is part of the conversation now that wasn't before, is that people who have a large public platform, for whatever reason, also of any size, have the responsibility of an audience. And if you have an audience that is deliberately made up of an enormous percentage of young people, you have, like it or not, a responsibility. And some people choose to decline that responsibility by, not being public figures or so. And I'm not saying that people who end up unwillingly being public figures are, immune from compassion or anything like that. But I think when people who have a large scale public platform, which isn't something that used to be the case for all creators, that was not the case before, there's also a really, really tough balance to walk when you are sharing yourself online as part of being a creator. And I think, to Travis's point, if you share something about yourself and your opinion and you receive enormous backlash, that can be, we're all responsible, for what we say and what we're comfortable with supporting. No, that's okay, Carrot. It's okay.
Not at all.
I wouldn't call this contentious.
No, I think this is great, and these are conversations that need to be had.
Hail Hydrate.
Yeah, hail Hydrate. I think these are conversations that are good to have.
And it's one of those things that I think it is a really interesting thing now, being a content creator and being able to share your work as well as yourself publicly. If you do that and you receive a response that is immense and strong and not what you were expecting, that can cause one of two reactions. And it's a little bit like the person saying, if you don't write XYZ a day, you can't call yourself a writer. It's a little bit like slamming the door. If your reaction is to slam the door on that response, if your reaction is to say the majority of my audience are stupid, they are maliciously willful, if that's your response for any creator, if that's your response, and you really think all these people, the vast majority of these people, are malicious or harmful or wrong, that's one response, and that is kind of a dead end. That's a little bit of a dead end. If your response is, oh my gosh, I seem to be out of step with a huge amount of my audience, this might be something I need to learn more about. You don't necessarily have to undo yourself as a person, but what you're hearing from a huge amount of people that you are privileged to have giving you their attention. With that, this massive amount of people that it is part of my job to connect with have advised me that they are feeling deeply disconnected. It might be something to look into.
And even if you don't change your perspective or your view, just stop talking about it. Right?
Sure.
Stop doubling down on that. And that's something that I find that for myself is I have, your two hydrations, your two hail hydrates back. They're trying to drown us tonight.
I'm fine with that.
But I find I am actually a big, because I'm a writer, I'm cognizant. I don't think writers should be held accountable for the words. If I write a murder scene and someone does it, I don't think I should be held accountable for that.
I see what you mean.
But I think that you do need to be aware of what you're doing. So I'm currently, for the second year in a row, writing a community-based Halloween story for my section of Ottawa. And it's for kids. I read it live on air for the children, and we do like a haunted story. And I always am cognizant of the fact that I'm writing for kids. So in this story, it's by the bay, and it's so there's a creature, a slug-like creature that comes out of the bay and starts chasing down the kids. So, and the kids, long story short, the kids end up, one of them gets stuck in the monster's slime, loses their candy bag. The monster grabs the candy bag, likes the candy more, and goes back and takes it. So moving forward, all the children leave a small piece of candy on their front doorstep to make sure the black slug doesn't attack them on Halloween.
Got it. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. And also no gory murder scene of any kind.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's got that spooky without being violent, which
Exactly.
seems appropriate. Yeah.
You know, they throw rocks and sticks, but that's about as far as it goes. But there was one section in the city I was going to have them, because it's I'm by the bay down here in the green belt so there's an area that's a big field I was going to have them run into, but that is going to be turned into a construction site. So I didn't want to use that as a location because I don't want to direct kids towards construction site.
Right.
The monster doesn't like chocolate. And you can't leave out chocolate for the monster, because I don't want kids leaving chocolate bars out on the front step and having their dogs eating it and getting poisoned.
Right.
So I think you need to be, so for me at least, I'm aware of what I'm putting out there and what the implications possibly could be moving forward with that. Like in the McCarthy Woods here, I wrote a Christmas story last year about a giant that lives in the woods and the kids that stole his stocking to get more stuff at Christmas. And now I still have children in the community that run through the woods trying to find the giant's house. A year later, there's still kids trying to find the giant's house in the woods. So
That's
I'm aware,
awesome.
It's fantastic, but I'm aware that what I write,
great.
kids will impact and will react on.
Sure.
So I think that when it comes to what you're writing in words or what you're saying in public, you need to be aware of what the impact of what your words are going to be and how they can have. And if you see that there is like you said, a massive negative impact happening to your community or to your following, stop talking about it. Try to learn, try to grow if you can. But, you know, there's a time where you can just kind of step back and say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to keep hitting this drum anymore. Death of the author concept is great in theory, but difficult in practicality when the author is still creating content. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's hard when you know that your money is going directly to a person whose viewpoints you can't support. There was a really interesting in the yoga community, there is a particular style of yoga that is named after the person who developed it, and it was enormously popular, and it's very specifically this style done in a very particular way. It's the same way, no matter what studio you go into, you'll have the same experience, and that's kind of part of the appeal. And I did this particular type of yoga constantly, all the time. And then a documentary came out a little bit later, but also a bunch of deeply problematic accusations came out against this person who was still teaching and practicing. So every time you would go to one of these yoga classes, somewhere along the chain, this person was getting the money. So it's not even like, we've found out like several decades later and like, yeah, maybe their grandchildren or like their estate or something will benefit. No, you're fully giving money specifically, eventually through the chain to this person. And I encourage everybody to examine the information available to them and make a decision that feels authentic. You know, nobody can do that for you. And it's a really good process to go through to decide when you're thinking about death of the author. You know, you don't need to decide for everybody else. You don't own that. That's outside of your locus of control. But it can be a really good process and a really good practice to go through that for yourself, to explore that information, to walk towards the things that feel deeply uncomfortable and decide, does this feel right and authentic? Sometimes it super sucks. Sometimes you have to give up your favorite kind of yoga. And also the harm that it would incur to continue to support something that I think is actively doing harm for me, in that particular instance, was not sustainable. That was not sustainable. Did it inconvenience me? Did it make me uncomfortable? Yeah, totally. Would I prioritize that over the degree of harm that it would potentially do to support, promote, or endorse this person in any way? No, not enough. But this balance is like splitting hairs constantly. It's different every day. I'm different every day that I approach it. We're all approaching it differently depending on what baggage we're packing, what info we get, all of those things. So
Yep.
that allows me to really, really own my own choices, but also find a bit of compassion for people who maybe make different ones, because I don't own that choice. Weigh your own checks and balances, make your own decisions, try to find space for people maybe making different ones. You know, I really think that has to be a very, very personal thing. I can disagree and I can argue why I disagree, but I think that those things are worth doing your research, because
Yeah.
that info is available to us now in a way that it wasn't.
Almost definitely, that info is all there. And I think that's something too that you have to take a look at, is how, you know, using the yoga as an example, how can you get into your flow? How can you get into your calm meditative state if as soon as you get into that quiet moment, your brain is leaping to this?
Right?
And or you're trying to read that book and your brain is not, you're not focusing on the book because you're thinking about what's happening with what the author did. And it's really hard to allow that, or to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you, LJ, trying to look at it in the way of do no harm when you're writing things, and to, I think it's just be aware of, be cognizant of how, because I think it's one thing that's very wrong that we're taught as children, is sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Did you get that edict as a kid? Was that?
Oh yeah, that was always the thing. And that's the thing I find the most, I've been hit by a car and left permanently disabled.
Yeah.
And the most painful thing I've ever gone through in my life has been brought to me by words.
Right.
And I think you have to be cognizant of what you're saying and how that impacts and moving forward.
And also, in a beautiful, lovely turn of events, we also have this incredible privilege of being able to share words and creative process in a platform and with a reach that was before completely unheard of, and help people find community and kinship and resonance in a way that they never could have before. So many of the people that I get to share really, really positive, lovely experiences with, thanks to the internet, comment, I never would have been able to do before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, this is being able to connect with people. And I've, as much as I'm here to entertain, to do things, to bring something to the lives of the people in the chat and to the community and people that are watching me, I have to say, I've been doing this for over a year, and I have never once left a stream without being touched, moved, and learning something.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's like, a great way to put that. Oh, I love others. That phrase. Exclamation mark, quote, carrot, carrot. Put it in. It's very true.
But yeah, Mothman, you're right. True. Talking to the community, and that's always my advice. I've had people, like someone ask me about working with an indigenous community. They had a scene that they wanted to write with indigenous magic. I'm like, you have to talk to the person. You have to talk to the community. You have to work with them on that. And that's a trope that I'm trying to actively destroy myself, and I'm trying to support other people in destroying, is if you do have a gay character, if you've got a female character, if you've got a disabled character, and where it's like, look at this amazing character, they can do all this stuff, even though they're gay, or even though they're female. And it's like, you know what? That's not their character trait. That's a thing that is a part of them. That's not who they are. Right? Unless that's central to the entire story. Constantly bringing up the fact that it's amazing that this person is doing something because they're because they're female, or because they're in the LGBTQ plus community or something, is, why can't we just have characters that just exist? Like, I use the example Black Widow, who is just a kick-ass character, and it's nothing to do with the fact that she's female. She's just a kick-ass character. I mean, her backstory does, but in general, it's just a great, great character. Yeah, we have to put that quote in there. But you attended a wonderful workshop with Farah Heron and Nathan Burgoyne. You butchered their spellings with inclusion of BIPOC and LGBTQ plus characters within literature. It was eye-opening and informative. Yeah. And that is something that you need to see. And that's the thing, SJ. I don't think you have to be from the community, but you should either reach out to the community and have someone advise you and work with you on that, or don't write the character in a way that you're trying to speak for the community. You can have it be that the character is the LGBTQ plus community and leave it at that, and don't make it. And it doesn't need to be made a big, like I was just saying, it doesn't need to be a big part of the story. That this is what what their orientation is.
Right.
That's, I've got dark hair and blue eyes. That doesn't, my entire life isn't lived around, my story isn't built around the fact that I've got dark hair and blue eyes.
There's something, this is a bit of a tangent, but just as like a really lovely, actionable thing that I've seen. There's another streamer that I really like that's typically in the makers and crafting, but actually started out in the Sims gaming community, named Simmerkey. And Simmerkey has a redeem in the channel points for a pronoun check. So at any point, people can just do a redeem for a pronoun check, and everybody in the chat just like throws their pronouns into the chat, and it just utterly normalizes the use of a pronoun check and to not make assumptions about anybody's pronouns. And it is this really nice, like, it's part of the entire playfulness of channel points. It's something that people do at random, and it's so lovely and just casually adds to the conviction that this is just part of the stream. And when Simmerkey does that, it makes it so welcoming and so known. And it's one of those things, it seems like I think maybe we've talked about this, like using partner when we refer to our significant other. I will use partner in a lot of contexts, specifically because it is irrelevant in most instances whether my partner is a man or a woman. And I've had the experience of using the term partner and then later naming my partner and having, like, watching people go through the fact that they made an assumption based on the use of the word partner and are now understanding that assumption that they made and reorganizing it. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to finger wag at them or what all of that is happening internally. And I think there's something really beautiful about doing something like a pronoun check, just normalizing those types of things in a really playful, lovely way, the same way, like your chat's describing, of integrating characters that are not necessarily your specific lived experience, because that is also part of the world, and it is cool to be part of a world where not everybody reflects exclusively your lived experience. Like, isn't that cool? That's so much cooler and more interesting to have those people. And I really like, I can't remember, I think it was LJ Stanton who mentioned, you don't have to centralize yourself inside that character and try to, like, marionette their experience. That's not what you're being asked to do as a creator, but to include them in the world while narrating your own or someone else's experience. I think all of those things are super helpful and super lovely and can be integrated really naturally for a more authentic world building.
Exactly. And speaking of LJ is actually one of the co-creators and co-authors on Scribe's Journey podcast. And she's actually a fantasy author, and her book, The Dying Sun, and she's got a new book that's coming out, is breaking all traditional normal bounds, because most fantasy science fiction stuff is done here in North America as a Western, and it's not very big in other cultures. And her series is based in the Middle East. It's a fantasy series based in the Middle East.
Cool.
And it's absolutely fantastic. That's
awesome.
She's
LJ, how do I buy your book? Carrot screaming support as always. Also Medusa, I love that. Well said, Medusa.
But it's not just a shout out. It's something that I truly respect, and it's amazing that, because we've had these conversations before where
Carrot
Amazon.
How do they buy your book?
The Dying Sun, Amazon.
Drop a link, LJ. Yeah. The people demand link. Sorry, this is not. What I meant to say is Travis is about to ask you.
I'm going to put that up.
Rude. Who is this lady? Who invited her on here? My goodness.
I have. Mikasa Sukasa.
My goodness.
So I'm going to put that link in for you, SJ or LJ.
Carrot, I love, my gosh, nobody loves, like, did we talk about, so, like, your audience, oh, that's awesome. Wicked. Thanks for sharing that, LJ.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is incredibly beneficial about going through that process of reflecting on yourself when you feel like you're out of step with your audience is that And one of the things that I think is maybe missing from that conversation that we were talking about earlier with JKR is that if you find yourself out of step, it's a really good reminder that I really think in most cases our audiences are a reflection of us, and you are just a prism, and if you shine a light through and it fractures into a bunch of different facets, all facets of your audience are a reflection of you and what you tolerate within your community. And if you decide that there is behavior in some part of your community that you are no longer willing to tolerate, yes, absolutely, you might lose some of those community members. And I really think it is beneficial to be as authentic as possible to what you want included in your community, because you will find the people that resonate for you. You will find other communities that already exist. You will find people that are doing the things that you admire and want to do, and you will be able to join them. But you have to go through that process of like, oh, this might be uncomfortable, or like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to verbalize this opinion or that opinion. It's tricky and it's uncomfortable, but it's so worth it.
It is
worth it.
And I've actually gone out of my way, and people in my chat have seen this. There was when I'm not going to get into it, I'm not going to go down into it, but that whole thing happened with the Capitol insurrection in the United States. And I came on, and I was on stream when it happened.
Oh, wow.
So we ended up discussing it, and it hijacked my stream, and we discussed it, and we went through it and all that stuff. And it was in one of those spots. That was one of the times where I have actively paused my stream and said, if this is what you support, if this is what you think is okay, leave. Yeah. You can stay if you want, but that kind of hate, that kind of intolerance, that kind of stuff will not be supported in this stream. And if what I'm saying and how I'm presenting this bothers you, you're welcome to not follow anymore. You're welcome to not do that anymore. And there's been only a few instances where I've actually taken that stance and been like, this is my stance. I'm not going to waver on what I believe in because to try to save community or try to save audience members or something like that. Right. You're more than welcome to go if you want to. And I have lost a couple of community members because of stuff like that. Right. Like I've had people get offended because I have the Every Child Matters count on my stream. When my welcome stream has the current count of the bodies found.
Shout out to the mods on that subject. Having good mods. Oh my goodness. I cannot undervalue there is no way to overstate how incredible having good mods is on Twitch. It is an utterly different thing to other platforms to mod on Twitch. It is really a unique and incredible thing that people do when they're mods for you, and I am so immensely grateful to. I have some really, really good mods.
I love
really
my mods.
Your protection. Awesome. Mods.
LJ's dog Chekhov is pretty awesome.
Chekhov, that's such a good dog name. Chekhov.
And actually, I don't know if I showed you this or not, LJ, but I actually just got this the other day, which is plays event on Chekhov.
Ooh, dig that cover art too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Slick.
Yeah, so it's got the cherry orchard, three sisters, the seagull, and Uncle Vanya.
Chekhov's ears are twitching from hearing his name. Hi, Chekhov! Hi, Chekhov! Hi, good doggo! Yes. Hello, good doggo! Let's see what happens. And also, can Toby hear me? Hi, Tobes! Hi, Toby! Medusa, do you have a fur baby? I will speak to all of the fur. We will now begin the portion of the stream where I address all of your fur babies. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. SJ, my dog, is like, what the hell? Hi, doggo! Hello, dog. I can't help myself. It's not reasonable. I didn't come here to be reasonable. You knew what you were getting into when you invited me on the stream, which I have enjoyed immensely. It has been a lovely conversation.
Yes, it has been great.
Toby is sitting next to me looking so neglected, despite the fact that I have been petting him 24/7 with both hands. Carrot, or have you been using one hand to pet and there is a second different hand? Mostly husky. Stanted Carrot. Tell them about Toby. You have 2 cats and 3 dogs. Full house. Hi, all Medusa's fur babies. Hi, Luna. Hi, SJ's Luna. Travis, is this everything that you hoped it would be?
No, this is great. I was actually just looking at this because I actually have one of my dogs passed. That's the one that's in the picture behind me. But I have one dog that's half wolf and half Great Pyrenees. And she's huge. She's a very big dog. And this is actually her.
Oh my God, she's beautiful.
Yeah. So the other one was half Rottweiler, half Pomeranian. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is a dog that probably felt a lot of feelings about itself and also other dogs. Oh my God, my cat was just in my silverware drawer. Amazing. Amazing. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Adorable.
But
well, thank you so much for having me, friend.
Yes, thank you for being here. This is great.
Pleasure.
We kind of went all over the place. But yeah, so everyone check out Brenda's stream, Art and Jest. There is a lot more that happens on her stream that we didn't get into.
There's a lot that happens. There's a lot of stuff that happens.
But as you can tell, she's a fantastic person, fantastic human being, and
ow, my heart, ow, ow.
Yes, Kara, you're always
Kara,
welcome.
You should come back for actual writing time.
And
come back for writing. This isn't actually
Monday. We'll be writing.
Monday is writing? Yeah, when's your next stream? What's your plug? Drop your pitch.
So my next stream, so the way we do things is the Saturday nights are switched up Saturdays, so we talk about writing while playing games. Usually games that have storylines.
Cool.
Mondays are actually working on the sci-fi line of Arch Nomis. And Wednesdays, Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Mondays at 7:30. Wednesdays at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, and that's more behind the scenes clerical work of what it means to be a writer, doing your website, doing your newsletter, keeping up with all that stuff. And then Thursdays, we have the first Thursday of the month, we watch a classic film and break down the plot line, story outline, and dialogue and writing. Second Thursday is in conversation with a creative. Third Thursday typically is a workshop where if you're a writer, you're having problems, we do deep dives into writing issues and help workshop problems. And the fourth Thursday of the month is where we do a stream for the podcast. We record the podcast live on that, so we flip it up. What about writing? Actually, talking about writing instead of actually doing it. Yeah. Do you save the cat here? So we actually do save the. We do save the cat in beat sheets. I actually am the partner. I also work as partnerships manager and the events manager for Plotter, which is the world's #1 story outlining software. I'm only doing. I'm just on contract. When they need me, I go in and I do stuff. But the thing is, you're a plantser. That's it. Everybody ends up plotting. That's the thing. You can be a discovery writer. You can go through and write your story through just writing and kind of going along. But at some point, everyone steps back and looks at their story to see where it is, where the plots are and how that factors in. Because you need to make sure you hit your plot points.
Screaming. Carrot's going to love it here. Carrot, I'm so glad we made best friends. Carrot, make best friends.
So Carrot, if you go to my website. You have to
report back to Sandra, too. Don't forget. Sandra's going to love this.
So if you go to my website, Carrot, there's actually a section on there on writing softwares and tools and stuff that I use, writing resources. There's a bunch of stuff. But I also do, I'm a plotter, a pantser, a discovery writer. I'm all over the place depending on what I'm doing. Yes, join the Discord. I saw that we already had a few people join the Discord, so thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. And so if don't be afraid to follow if you want to be notified of when I go live and come through. So we have Mothman, Medusa, Caro, everyone, welcome. Thank you for coming through. I greatly appreciate it. It's been fun. So what I'm going to do, chat, is I'm just going to be right back for a moment and say goodbye to our lovely guest. And then I'm going to come back in and we'll finish off the stream. So I'll be right back in just a moment. Thank you very much for joining us today, Brenda. I greatly appreciate this. It's been a lot of fun.
It was an absolute pleasure, friend.
Yes, this has been fantastic. And I have to have a conversation with Nightbot. Nightbot is a bit strict. All right. I'll be right back, chat. One moment.
Bye, chat.